Once you see me, you can't unsee me. Okay, after a year, if I had to start all over again, how would I go about doing that? Okay, so let's get into it. The first thing I would do is I would pick an industry, a thriving industry. The reason why is because investors, which you're going to need to bring on board at some point, they want to invest in a thriving industry. No investor want to invest in a dying industry. So you want to pick an exciting industry. Now, a lot of people say service-based businesses, that's one, because the banks lend on them. But you also want to look at businesses that's asset heavy, and that's going to matter a lot. And I'll drop a later video about that. So you want to pick a thriving industry. It's very simple, don't overthink it. I don't know, I took maybe a day to pick my industry. So I would simply go to Google again, like I did before, and see which industries. I know I wanted to be in healthcare. Originally, I wanted to be in real estate, just because I have a real estate background, but the multiples on real estate is way too high. So I picked healthcare. Now, a lot of people are in healthcare, but different sectors. So I picked healthcare, and with that, I did a slight research on some of the sectors in healthcare, and then from there, I started going. I educated myself a bit about it, and I was able to speak to people, and I knew a bit about what I was saying. I got their attention. So I would go to Google, pick an industry, or you could go to ibisworld.com as well. It has lots of information on industries and which one is thriving and which one is going under, or what trend is happening in what industry. So that's great. So I would do that. After picking a good industry, educating myself, about that industry, I would create an executive summary, a 2-page executive summary. Basically, saying, hey, what's the problem? Who you are, what's the problem, what's the solution, right, that you're solving, where you're going to operate within the market, and a little bit more, details about your team if you have one. Obviously, you won't, so that's to be determined or at a later date, or however you want to put that on your executive summary. But I would create my executive summary, and if you don't know how to create an executive summary, Google it. It's very simple. Or if you want to, if you want me to share mine, just reach out to me. I'll share my executive summary with you. So I would create an executive summary, and I would have a pitch deck. But before I do a pitch deck, what I would do is I would reach out to individuals. Since I know what industry I want to get into, healthcare, I would reach out to industry experts in the healthcare space and say, hey, if you wanted to create an investment firm to buy multiple healthcare companies, or if you wanted to create a healthcare platform by making multiple acquisitions, how would I go about doing that? And listen to those guys, take notes, listen and say thank you, right? Because they're going to drop gems, they're going to drop a lot of knowledge. That's how I would go about it. Because if you speak directly to the source, the industry experts, who else is going to be able to tell you anything? No one. That's who. And also, when you reach out to these board members, you want to sound like you know what you're talking about. So after the executive summary, I'm going to reach out to individuals. I would reach out to an industry expert, several of them, and see which one would want to speak to me. And I would go about asking questions of how I could pull this off if they were me. After that, on LinkedIn, I would sign up for the Recruiter Lite. It's a package that it's a product LinkedIn offer. So LinkedIn Recruiter Lite. It's if you go to LinkedIn, you don't have it. It's on the premium section. Find it. That's not what this video is about. But you sign up for a premium LinkedIn Recruiter, and then you're gonna have to create a task, and that's when you're able to search for individuals. So I would create a deal team. When I started out, I created a board of directors. I had a board of directors, and I had a board of advisory, and I had a scientific board. So we had a lot of people, and I gave away a lot of equity. Well, I was going to give away a lot of equity. You want to avoid that. Unless you're, in medical devices like I started out, you really can't avoid that. But if you're in, service-based businesses, you can absolutely avoid that, and don't fall into that trap. So I would reach out on LinkedIn Recruiter. I would reach out to building a team, deal team. I would reach out to an accountant. I would reach out to an investment banker. I would reach out to an M&A attorney, and I would reach out to an industry expert. Those are the 4 people I reach out to. That's it. That's all I want to give. Those are the only people I want to give equity to. Pertaining to a board, if you're creating a board of directors, which is slightly different than a deal team, you will want to have an investment banker that is your chair. So your investment banker is going to be your chair. And I didn't want an investment banker to be my chair. I didn't want to go through all that because your chair is going to have a lot of power. They could actually dismantle your entire board if they do not see it fit, to achieve the goal that you set out to achieve. Keep that in mind. A lot of people don't talk about that. Also, side note, if you have an investor who's coming on who's going to supply maybe a $1 investor, something to that effect, he's going to want a board seat. And you may think about having that individual as your chairperson. So think about that. Now back to it. If you're creating a board of directors, investment banker, you're chairman. You want an accountant, you want a CFO, you want an industry expert, and you want a M&A attorney. So why do you need a CFO? Well, you need a CFO because if you have a board of directors and you have that, that structure, there's some formalities you have to go through. When you're speaking with the banks, they're going to want your CFO and your in-house accountant to sign off on the deal, not a third-party firm. Okay, your in-house team. They will want those guys to sign off on the deal. So, also, you're going to have board meetings and stuff like that, but that's later on when you incorporate your company. So that's another side note of not incorporating a company soon, because you don't have to operate. You can operate as a corporation without being filed. So why is your investment banker important? Well, your investment banker is important because, well, for one, he's going to be structuring the deals. Those guys tend to have 30, 40, years of experience as investment bankers. Now, you want an investment banker, not an investment banker / attorney. You want only an investment banker. That's it. That's its only function, to be an investment banker. So he's going to advise you on the structure of your company, whether it's an LLC or Holdings Company LLC structured as a C Corp or a C Corp. If you're going to be raising capital and stuff like that, investors like investing, in C Corps. Now, speak with your team, because there's a lot of different ways you can go about doing this. But that's having a board of directors. Investment banker, that's his job. Now, you may be wondering, why do I need a CFO? Your CFO is the guy that you're going to go and, first guy that sees the deal that comes in. He's going to be the one who puts together the executive summary on the deal. And this is an off-market deal. And that's the difference between, well, I guess that's kind of like the, pro or the thing with dealing with brokers, because they give you a SIM, a confidential memo. It's, within that, there's an executive summary of the business. If, you're going off market, your CFO will have to put that together. He puts together the pitch decks. He makes introductions, and he arranges financing and stuff like that. So it's not just, that, hey, it's a title. It's the function of the CFO. Also, a deal team, you will need to get a CFO after you have maybe, a couple acquisitions, right? Because you're going to need a CFO. It's the function of the CFO that you need, not just the title. So both deal team and board of directors, you will need a CFO, but one you can do without, for a period of time, and the other one you actually need right now. So that's what I would do. That's how I would go about it. How would I actually pitch these guys when I reach out to them? Well, I would simply say, I would keep it very short. I would say something like, hey, I came across your link, I came across your profile, and I'm impressed. I'm looking for great people with your background. Would you like to connect to discuss the possibilities, something to that effect? And it works great. That's what I used the last time I reached out to individuals. You don't have to say, hey, I'm the principal with XYZ company. We're looking to, create this platform in healthcare by acquiring 30 companies. You don't have to say all of that. A lot of times you say, you send a lengthy message, you lose them. So keep them guessing, have them wondering, hey, yeah, what are you going to talk about? What do you have in mind? And once they send, they accept the connection and they send you a message. Yeah, I'd love to discuss with you further, whatever the case is. Simply send them a little bit more about, what you want to do. Something to the effect of, hey, let me give you a bit more color on our strategy. We want to, we're creating a platform in healthcare by acquiring maybe 10 to 30 companies and possibly go public. Not too sure about that yet. But if we do get an offer from a bigger company, we'll consider selling, right? And I reached out to you because of your, accounting background, as we need individuals like you to assist us in analyzing our deals. To date, we've looked at X amount of deals, and we've sent out X amount of LOIs. We're looking to get a few more LOIs in. Are you interested? Something like that, very short, right? So you get these guys, and a lot of them are going to say no, a lot of them are going to say yes. And I would simply, this is something I did as I was building my team as well. A lot of people don't talk, I don't think people do this at all. It's kind of a hack. So if you get like 4 or 5 individuals that's interested in joining your team, whether it's an investment banker, accountant, an attorney, or an industry expert, or you have several accountants, whatever the case is, if you get, multiple individuals who are, interested, they've given you a soft yes. What I did was I said, hey, Jim, I know you've given me a soft yes. I have a Zoom call coming up with the other individuals that has given me a soft yes as well. On that call, we're going to discuss how we could go about doing this, how we could pull this off, and who's going to be, willing to work with us moving forward. But what would happen is when you do that, you'll see that these guys will start talking amongst themselves, and they will start sharing, ideas, strategies. You should report it, by the way. And they will name drop individuals. They will say, hey, I could introduce you to this person, or I could introduce you to, to that person. You're going to see that happen. And you're going to get like a level of information and insights from these guys that you couldn't get individually, one-on-one with them. So that's the great thing about that. And also, if they ask you something you don't know, chances are there's going to be an individual that, that you resonate with a lot more. That individual may step in and say, oh, no, don't worry about it. Maybe we could do this and that. Or maybe that's something that we're not concerned about because, as we move along, our corporate strategy may change, right? So that's not something we're really concerned with. Something to that effect, but you'll see, an individual will say, no, don't worry about it. I got you, And you will see who's more enthusiastic to work with you, who's willing to move forward and say, hey, let's make this happen. I'm on board. You have, I'm on 100%. What's next? So that's what I would do. I would, get these guys on a Zoom call and have them share their ideas. But a lot of people don't discuss that. A lot of people don't talk about it. Like I said, I'm the only one that I know have done this so far. It works great. So after I have my team together, what I would do is I would start looking at deals. So I would look at broker deals. The reason why is because I see that once you reach out to individuals, they would be like, yeah, okay, I'm willing to work with you. But if you don't have anything for them, it's not much that you could do. What I'm saying is if you reach out to an accountant, you're like, hey, I need you to assist us in, analyzing deals. They give you a yes, they're on board, and you don't have any deals for them to analyze or look at. After a while, it's going to be like, well, what am I doing here? And that's how you lose these individuals. You want to keep them engaged. So I would reach out to them maybe every 2 weeks, give them an update of what's happening. But I would reach out to brokers, get some deals from the brokers, start looking at some financials, know what the market, is dictating basically. Not that it's accurate, by the way, from brokers, but I would gauge the market. Now you know exactly what numbers to talk to sellers about and stuff like that. And also, you have something to send to your people, your team. You don't want to overwhelm them, so don't do that. What I would do is, if it's an accountant, I would sit down with them and say, hey, could you go over these numbers with me so I know what you're looking at? If you have zero accounting background, that would be great for you to be able to look at a balance sheet or just look at some financials and know what to look for. Also, I would ask, hey, could you share with me the financial calculator you use or the financial model, right? I would ask for them to share that with me. And that way you can start analyzing the deals and you don't have to worry about sending them deals and you don't know what's happening and you're bombarding them with, 15, 20 deals and nothing's happening, nothing's coming to fruition. That's how you lose these guys. That's how you tell them, hey, I put in too much work. I'm out. So you want to avoid that. Now, next thing after that, once you start looking at deals, you're going to start, you want to reach out to banks. So what I did was, I heard everybody telling me at the time to just reach out to, banks as I was going along, reach out to accounting firms, get them to work with me on deferred fees, reach out to, law firms and all that stuff. I did all of that, and none of them really wanted to work with us on a successful basis. That's just the reality of it. You're starting out, you have zero background, zero credibility, zero track record, and you think these, high-level law firm and accounting firm, is going to be willing to work with you. That's not happening, especially if you're talking about going after the big four guys and top tier level law firms. That is not happening at all. They're going to say, well, QOE, or quality of earnings, is about $250,000. And hey, how about you deposit $50K? I mean, if you're trying to do this and you don't have that kind of those figures in your bank, it's going to be hard for you, and you're not going to get anybody to work with you. So you want to avoid that. As a matter of fact, having a great accountant on board, having a great attorney on board, those guys can actually help, with the due diligence, with the bulk of the due diligence. And it's easier to get a firm to work with you if you just need a QOE, a quality of earnings report done. It's very easy. It costs you a few thousand. You don't have to spend $250,000 on just a QOE or having a top tier law firm or accounting firm, do due diligence work just because of the name. You don't need that representation right now. All that could be done with your in-house team, especially if you're looking at deals between $1 to $5 million. Forget about it. My team, I have 2 attorneys, tax corporate attorney and a M&A transactional attorney. And they both advise me, hey, we don't have to really go to third-party firms. We could conduct the due diligence ourselves as far as the law, the law side goes. Yes, the law aspect of it, the legal aspect. And my accountant, and my CFO, they would work on the deal as well. I've heard that you can't have your CFO and your accountant, perform due diligence on the deal. It's a conflict of interest. So speak with your board and other industry experts and other guys, because I've heard slightly different things, conflicting things about that. So you want to have your CFO, if you have one, or your team start giving you introduction to other individuals that is in the community. So you're going to need banks. And the thing is with banks, if you reach out to banks and you're just making introductions and you say, hey, and you're saying something like, hey, I'm reaching out to you because, we're looking to establish a long-term relationship, financial relationship. This is what we're doing, X, Y, Z. These guys will speak with you, but they do not care about any of that because all you're talking is, it's hot air. It's all smoke and mirrors. If you're not presenting to them a signed, accepted offer, LOI, you don't really have anything to talk about. You're going to be added on your Rolodex and, you're just going to be another, digital input on their computer. So unless you have an LOI, I'm not reaching out to any accounting firm, law firm, or banks for that matter. Because the same thing that, you take, 2-3 weeks a month, reaching out to law firms, banks, and all that stuff, I can complete, or I can achieve the same exact thing if I go to them with a letter of intent or LOI and say, hey, this is what we have an accepted offer. What can you do for us? I will get further than you, as a matter of fact. So don't waste your time and all that stuff. And your team is going to be able to make introductions on your behalf, which you should absolutely ask of them, right? So let your team know. As far as timing, you don't know a specific time. I hate when people say, well, I only need 2 hours. How the fuck do you know that? I hate that. Just let them know. I have no idea how much time we're going to need from you right now, but I know I'm going to be doing, the bulk of the work. I will only come to you for more so advice right now. But as we move forward, obviously, I would, need more of their time. And this may be a CFO, CFO or accountant. Investment banker you want to get close with because of the level of knowledge they have. But your investment banker, by far, is going to be connected with more people than any other person on your board. Unless you have a CEO who's a search CEO. But yeah, that's how I would go about doing it. Now, that's just creating a board, recruiting people, getting them to work with you. If you want, more in-depth knowledge about this, I have a Discord server, Elite what? Elite Acquisitions and Investment Banking, yes. Yeah, we have a server on Discord where we share these type of things with individuals, our members. So that's where you can find us. Also on Facebook, obviously, Elite Acquisitions and Investment Banking. Like I said, if you want more in-depth and you want information about the industries that's hot right now, that investors are going to, want to invest in, reach out to us and we'll provide more information on that. But until then, I'm out. But catch you in the next video, guys. But yeah, real quick, let me know what you guys want me to discuss next. I have a wide range of topics I'm going to discuss from other questions that I've gotten before and just my personal experience. But you guys let me know what you want me to discuss next, and I'll drop a video. We did that before, and I think a lot of people wanted me to discuss financing, capital raising, and stuff like that. And that's going to be interesting. So stay tuned, guys. Video coming up.